You think you can just disappear and the family won't come after you? My father's voice cut through the silence at the table like a knife. From snooping through my bank account to barging into my apartment, from pretending to care to filing anonymous reports, they had been pushing me into a corner for a long time. And when I finally struck back, breaking down their lies with evidence and legal steps, they could only stare at their screens in shock, watching the people who thought they still had power over me collapse into panic, helplessness, and regret. Thinking back to 5 days earlier, I remember looking up at him, sitting beside the grill, beer in hand, wearing an exaggerated smile he clearly practiced in the mirror. My mother sat on the other side of the table, chin resting on her palm, her eyes carrying that familiar cold smirk. My sister Tara scrolled on her phone, chuckling under her breath, while my brother Matt swung his beer bottle with that "This family doesn't need you anymore" look. The air smelled like barbecue, but it couldn't hide the sharp tension. I didn't respond. I simply set my wine down and said calmly, "I'm here to eat, not to argue." My father snorted. "Eat? Do you not realize how ridiculous you sound? This family doesn't even want you here." In that moment I understood. This wasn't a normal family disagreement. This was a staged humiliation. All because a few weeks earlier, I spent a weekend with my girlfriend Emily without inviting any family members, without informing anyone. We stayed in a simple cabin in the Colorado mountains, went hiking, took a few photos. A harmless Instagram story turned into the weapon they needed. My mother spoke in a soft, suffocating voice. "We've always supported you, but whenever you have free time, you vanish." Tara chimed in, unable to contain herself. "You're always selfish. We don't need you anymore." Matt slapped the table with his beer bottle. "Yeah, Colorado says it all." I nodded, ate in silence, and made a decision. I wouldn't stay quiet this time. Later that night, I discovered my mother had tried to withdraw $5,000 from the old joint account we used to share. My daily $400 limit blocked the attempt. I immediately froze the card and wrote a note in the account. "Pay without me." That was the moment I understood. They didn't just want to shame me. They wanted control over my finances. A few days later, when I returned to my apartment, Emily right behind me, brows furrowed, I pushed the door open and froze. My parents and Tara were already inside. Unannounced, uninvited. My father was flipping through the photo album on the coffee table. My mother stood nearby with a bag of snacks and some documents, as if she had been planning this visit. Tara lounged on the couch, shoes off, scrolling on her phone without even glancing at me. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice low, edged with authority. My mother smiled lightly. "We need to talk." I didn't move. Emily stood in the doorway, gripping the takeout bag tightly. I signaled for her to stay still. My father shook his head. "You've changed, Andrew. Ever since you started dating her, you've become selfish." I pointed at the door. "You all need to leave now, or I'm calling the police." My mother let out a cold laugh. "You'll regret this." At that point, I realized that continuing to tolerate them would only embolden them. So I reached out to my Aunt Antonice, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, the family's black sheep, estranged from my parents for a long time. After listening to everything, she said calmly, "I knew this would happen eventually. It's time to end it properly." With her help, I began gathering evidence. Bank records, years of money demands, screenshots, photos of their hidden vacations paid with funds they claimed they didn't have. I organized everything into a detailed timeline. Every debt, every manipulation, every recent attempt to access my accounts. Then I met with Clara, a lawyer who specialized in family disputes. calm, efficient, and ruthless when needed. She helped me legally sever every financial tie, closing joint accounts, removing them as emergency contacts, changing insurance beneficiaries. Every step was precise. By the end, there was nothing they could hold over me. I compiled all the crucial evidence and sent it to the family group chat. Screenshots, bank logs, photos, Antonis' testimony. No explanation. Only one line. Before you believe them again, look at the things I was never allowed to say. The chat exploded. Matt asked if I was insane.
Terra senangia mugis.
My mother didn't respond directly. Instead, she contacted Emily, trying to drive a wedge between us. Emily showed me the messages without hesitation. Finish it, she said. Over the next few days, Clara and I addressed their actions legally. First, the break-in. They entered my apartment without permission. That was unlawful entry. I notified my landlord, who immediately changed the locks and provided security monitoring. Second, the anonymous complaint about my job was traced back to Tara's university network. The school dismissed the report once the facts were presented. Once the legal steps were complete, I cut off all contact, deleted the family chat, moved out, started over. Emily and I relocated to a new 2-bedroom apartment near a park, with good kitchen light and a study where she finally got her reading corner. Aunt Antonis helped us pack. She put a hand on my shoulder and said quietly, "This is your first step away, and your first step toward being free." Work stabilized again. My students surprised me with a small welcome back display, and Emily hung the crafts they made in my classroom. Slowly, life became peaceful again. 2 months later, Emily and I sat on our balcony, enjoying the warm evening with pizza and cheap wine. I looked at her, feeling something I hadn't felt in years: safety. "You know," Emily said softly, "you're going to be a great father someday." I looked back at her, warmth flooding through me. After everything, the threats, the humiliation, the invasion, this was the ending I never expected but deeply needed. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. I wasn't controlled. I wasn't afraid. I was just Andrew, and for the first time I belonged entirely to myself.